Good afternoon, dear visitors. Let me present you the main result of the study on the topic the current level of competence of school teachers on how to use cloud technologies in the educational process during COVID-19. Author of the article, Vakaliuk, Spirin, Korotun, Antoniuk, Medvedieva, and Novitska. With the spread of COVID-19, the educational process of foreign and domestic educational institutions is undergoing significant change. During the period of total lockdown, teachers had to move to distance learning to organize a continuous educational process, which is not possible without the active use of modern information and communication technologies, including cloud technologies and services. Many teachers had to simultaneously increase their competence in using such service and teach students to do it. Students and teachers had to cope with many challenges for the proper and effective use of cloud services in the organization of such training. With this in mind, at the beginning of the pandemic, Zhytomyr Polytechnic State University conducted a series of free distance online courses for teachers, which included studying the possibility of using cloud technologies in teaching in a pandemic. A scientifically sound methodology was developed, which contained a semantic component with a list of topics and future forms, method, and means of conducting such courses were described in the previous work. 1,500 teachers were registered for the courses and 860 people complete the course. Therefore, some institutions of secondary education in Zhytomyr expressed the desire to go through the same course but full-time mode. It was decided to hold such courses for school teachers. Before starting the courses, it was necessary to find out the current level of their competence in the use of cloud technologies in the educational process in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. The courses were held at Zhytomyr Polytechnic State University in August 2020 full-time. The purpose of training on the courses cloud technologies in the educational process in quarantine was to get acquired with the basic methodologies of using cloud technologies in education, a general overview of existing cloud technologies and consideration of the main provisions of cloud technologies for use in the educational process. The course was completely identical to the course conducted in the period March-April 2020. The main differences was that teacher training was conducted traditionally in the classroom. 98 teachers of schools of the city of Zhytomyr were covered by training on courses cloud technologies in the educational process in the condition of quarantine. At the beginning of the course, a survey was conducted to clarify general issues. To the question, do you have computer or laptop at home? 90% of the respondents answered in the affirmative. The same answers was given to the question, if you have a computer at home, is it connected to the internet, and can you find the information you need on the internet? Interestingly, that 100% of respondents indicated that the internet is necessary for his or her professional activity. In response to the question, are you able to choose and use software to optimally present the different types of materials needed for the learning process? 64% of respondents indicated that they know how to choose and use software for optimal presentation of different types of materials necessary for the learning process, while all the other answers that they do not know. The next question of the general unit was where the teacher have their website developed. In response to this question, only 24% of respondents answered that there is, and 76% do not. At the same time, 97% of respondents indicated that they had a website for their school, and only 3% said no. Questions were about whether the course participants know what cloud technologies or services are, to which 61% of respondents answered in the affirmative and 39% answered no. At the same time, only 45% used cloud technologies in teaching their subject before taking the courses, and 55% did not use them before taking the course. The following questions served to establish the competence of teachers on the use of cloud technologies in the educational process during COVID-19, and were studied before and after the courses that included the acquisition of basic competence for working with cloud technologies in the educational process in the condition of a pandemic. When finding on out what motivate teachers to use cloud technologies in the educational process, it was found that more than 50% of respondents in both cases choose the need to be able to use different cloud technologies, and the end of the experiment, respondents who choose this type of motive increased by 4%. The need for self-study using various cloud technologies at the beginning of the experiment was chosen by 25% of respondents and the end 22%. Regarding the other two motives, there was an interesting dynamic. The need to be acquired with the cloud technologies before the experiment chose 10%, after 6%. When choosing the need to study the main types of cloud technology, situation was the opposite. At the beginning of the experiment, 6%, and the end of the experiment, 12%. Accordingly, at the beginning of the experiment, 2%, and at the end, 1% of respondents did not use cloud technologies in the educational process in general. In general, according to the result of the study, after the courses, the motivation of teachers to use cloud technologies in the educational process has increased. Determining which of the proposed motives motivate teachers to self-study using cloud services, it was found that 77% before the experiment and 70% after the experiment of respondents show the need for self-improvement and self-development in the future professions. The need to understand the significance of the acquired skills before the experiment was chosen by 12% and after 70%. The need to understand the signification of the acquired knowledge was chosen by 10 and 7% respectively. The need to be a leader was not a priority, and some respondents did not see the need to self-study at all. Regarding the level of teachers' knowledge of cloud technologies at the beginning of the experiment, 51% of respondents only knew what cloud technologies were, while after the experiment, the share of respondents was 10%. At the end of the experiment, 53% of respondents already knew basic cloud services that can be used in the educational process. At the beginning of the experiment, this percentage was 25%. It should be known that 70% did not hear about cloud technologies at the beginning of the experiment, while this figure decreased by 2% at the end of the experiment. Regarding the level of teachers, mastery of the ability to use cloud technologies, the following was found: 53% of teachers after the courses, compared to 50% before the courses, can work with cloud technologies, while at the beginning of the course, 49% only knew what cloud technology was. From 5 to 19% increased the number of teachers who can use cloud technology for self-study. It is worth noting that the percentage of those teachers who do not know what cloud technologies are and what they are used for has decreased from 20% before the courses and to 2% after the courses. And in the course of the course's attention was paid to the 10 times of cloud tools. It was important to ask how many teachers have learned to use different tools in the learning process. In particular, the level of teachers' mastery of the ability to use cloud-based smart cards in the educational process can be described as follows. They did not know at all what smart cards were and what they were used from 50% at the beginning of the experiment. And this percentage dropped to 1% after the experiment. 42% of respondents knew what smart cards were before the courses, And there we isolated a case of knowledge of different cloud-based smart cards, skills to work with cloud-based smart cards, and the ability to use based smart cards for self-study. After the experiment, the number of those who knew different cloud-based smart cards increased from 2 to 12%, as well as those who knew how to work with cloud-based smart cards from 3 to 49%. The percentage of those who were able to use cloud-based smart cards for self-study increased from 2 to 90%. Working on a joint project plays an important role in distance learning as well as in blended learning. Therefore, establishing the level of mastery of teachers' ability to work on a joint project in the use of cloud technologies was also important. As a result, it was found that 43% of teachers at the beginning of the experiment didn't know what a joint project was and how to work on it in the conditions of using cloud technologies. And after that, the percentage scientifically described to 1%. Among teachers, so 43% also knew what a joint project was before the courses. The percentage of those who knew different cloud services to work on a joint project knew how to choose different cloud services to work on a joint project and knew how to use different cloud services to work on a joint project, even in self-study, was so small at the beginning of the experiment. Uh, at the same time, after the courses, these indicators increased significantly 40% and 37% and 13%, respectively. Indicator that was related was the level of teachers' mastery of the skills of using cloud-based learning management tools. Again, before the courses, 45% did not know what cloud-based learning management tools were and what they were used for, while after the experiment, this percentage dropped to 2%. At the beginning of the experiment, 33% of teachers knew what cloud-based learning management tools were, and there were a few cases when the teachers knew different cloud-based learning management tools. 50%. We are able to work with cloud-based learning management tools, 7%. At the same time, no teachers was able to use cloud-based learning management tools for self-study before the experiment. After the courses, 47% of teachers knew different cloud-based learning management tools, and 90% were able to use cloud learning management tools for the levels of teachers' mastery of the skills of using cloud-based means of presenting educational materials after the courses have scientifically increased. Also, the level of mastering by teachers of skills of using cloud-oriented means of communication um, has scientifically increased, which is presented in the slide. After face-to-face courses, teachers in the Zhytomyr school have scientifically increased their competence in the use of cloud technologies in the educational process in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. It is worth noting that not only their level in general has increased, but also the horizon regarding the variety of cloud services that should be used in distance learning have expanded. Course training, organized according to scientifically sound method, help to increase the motivation of students or teachers to self-study, as well as to the future use of cloud technology. Finally, it should be noted that the advantages of full-time education include clarity, accessibility, comprehensibility, and the advantages of distance learning include a mass, no need classroom, no need to transit university teacher and school teachers classes. Prospects for future exploration include of comparison of the level of growth of the relevant competence during face-to-face and distance learning courses and the identification or more scientific result. Thank you for your attention.